Morning, everyone. Hope you are well. Today's learning is dedicated in memory of Leah Bas Feivel, Tzivia Bas Mordechai, Avram ben David Slavin, Shlom ben Yisrael Morris, Eliezer ben Shmuel Teret, Eliezer Shalom ben Avram Shmuel Beret, Tzipora Fegela Bas Reuven Baruch, Shalom ben Elia Lee, Ben Bas Feivel, Fruma Shoshana Bas Yaakov Shmuel, Sarah Malka Bas Binyamin, as well as Yechiel Micho ben Zalman, Meshulam ben Yosef, and David ben Yaakov, Zahava bas Shlomo, Begel bas Shol. We wish each and every one of them and their respective families long life and only simchas. So, today we continue with our great journey through the laws of Teshuva, of learning how to become better people, which is what it's all about, isn't it? So, we discussed about what is the case of a Baal Teshuva Gemara, of doing complete repentance. And we said, when you are tested, when you find yourself in the same scenario or a similar scenario, and you don't repeat the same mistakes, you're not a repeat offender, then we can see that then retrospectively that your Teshuva, when you had that regret, when you said you were going to improve, you meant it. So, what are the stages? Today we talk about the various stages for us to do Teshuvah. In other words, to change, to be forgiven, to reform ourselves. What are the stages that we need to do? You know, in this country, it's very interesting. So, you get thrown into prison for a serious offense. They throw away the key. You get a plasma screen. You do some sports and you come out. And then a couple of years later, very often they reoffend. And that is because, not in all cases, and of course I'm dramatizing, but very often they have not gone through the necessary steps to ensure that they have changed, made lasting changes to their lives. Says Maimonides, how do we know if we've done the stages of repentance? First stage is that you have to stop the actual offense, the sin, the transgression. You can't actually stand there on Yom Kippur and, klap al chet, but you know that you're continuing in your wayward behavior, right? You actually have to have stopped it, right? You can't say, I'm going to stop it or I regret it, but you're continuing with that behavior. So you actually have to have stopped it by when you are standing there and expressing regret and asking for forgiveness, okay? And then the second stage is he has to regret it, right? He has to internally have that remorse, that he knows that what he has done is wrong. In other words, he's gone through a process of introspection. He's thought about what he's done, and he says, I can't believe I've done that, or she's done that. What a terrible thing. I wish I hadn't done it. And then the next stage is he changes the order slightly. The order here is that he has to have intent that he will never do it again, right? He has to have the motivation, right? The intention that this is a New Year's resolution that I'm actually going to keep. In Judaism, New Year's resolutions are not something that we say but we don't do, but actually that we follow through on. And then there is the fourth stage, which is the confession, okay, which we spoke a bit about yesterday, that a person has to say, I've done chatasi avisi bashati, right? I've done these sins and I regret them and I'm never going to do them again, okay? That is the idea of confession. So there are 4 stages. Let's go through the 4 stages again. Okay, let's see who's here. Is anyone here with me today? Yes, good morning. Good morning, everyone. In particular, we wish long life to David, who has Yortzeit today for the first Yortzeit for his father. David, wish you and all the family long life, and lovely to see everyone joining us. So, Anthony, Estelle, Caroline, Richard, sorry to pick on everyone. And of course, we wish long life to David Goldring, who is in the Shiva and is joining us from Leicester. David, wish you and all the family long life. So, what's the 4 stages? You ready? Anthony, David, Estelle, here we go. First, you've got to actually leave the sin. You can't be standing in the dock, right? A thief, right? Somebody was a burglar. They can't stand in the dock, right, one day and say that they regret and they want forgiveness right? And then the very next day before sentence, they've been continuing, right? They broke into the judge's house and they did that house last night, and they broke into the prosecution's house and they did that house. You can't continue, right, to carry out the transgression and say, well, I really regret it. You don't regret it. You can't ask for forgiveness unless you are sincere. So you have to stop sinning, stop doing the offense. Number two, you have to regret it. Number three, you have to make a confession, which is what we do on Yom Kippur. Okay? Again and again, we say confession, right? Right? And the fourth stage is that I accept on myself that I'm not going to repeat it in the future. Now, Teshuva is a gift. We have to recognize that this is one of the greatest gifts that was already preordained from before the creation of the world. Why is it a gift? Because I am essentially, in Judaism, erasing the past. I remember over the holidays, I watched with my kids Back to the Future. Actually, I think it was the year 2015 they went back to. But besides all that and seeing what the world was going to look like, you can go back, or at least in this movie, you could go back to the past, and they do, right? Generally speaking, in life, we always tell ourselves and tell our families that the past is the past. You can't rewrite history. There is one exception. Every rule has an exception, and that is Teshuva. I can rewrite my past. If I truly go through these 4 stages of reformation and rehabilitation, I can change my past. God will not see it any longer as if I carried out those sins, because I disassociate myself with it. I regret it. I show that's not who I truly am, and I'm not going to do it again. Okay? So therefore, if we don't, then it's like the analogy, I guess, is if you imagine that you've got a stain on your clothing, right? And you say, you know what, I'm not going to deal with the washing now. I know there's a stain on my white shirt or blouse, but I'm going to leave it till I get back from holiday. The longer you leave it, the more ingrained it is. But if you wash it immediately, that stain, right, with the correct washing detergents, which I'm sure we all know, or you'll tell me which one, it can eradicate it, and you would never know that it was ever there. So that is what we are talking about. The gift that the Almighty has given us to rewrite our past in terms of our relationship with Him. Now, that only works between us and God. However, you can't go through these stages, right? You look in the mirror, go through these stages, leave the sin, regret it, make a confession, and have that intent never to do it again. Okay, and then between you and your fellow human, your fellow man or fellow woman, and you don't do anything about it in terms of them. In other words, between us and with us and our interpersonal relationships, it only works if you first go and approach the other person that you've upset, that you've caused offense, and ask for their forgiveness, to listen to their pain, to put yourself in their shoes. That's only when one has appreciated the harm and damage one caused, can you truly have regret. And in fact, it's very interesting, folks. Have you ever wondered, we finish Yom Kippur, and before everyone rushes out of shul, we daven Mariv quite quickly. Now, when we daven Mariv, we say in the Amida a fascinating thing. We say, Slach lanu avinu ki chatanu. We ask for forgiveness again. Why do we ask for forgiveness if we've just been forgiven? And the answer is because the more you go into something, the more you have a deeper understanding and appreciation as to how wrong it was, right? So if I speak to somebody, they can share their pain of what I caused, the anguish that I caused, the sorrow that I caused, then I have a deeper appreciation. So in terms of me and God, I've got to do the 4 stages. I've got to leave the sin, I've got to regret, I've got to make a confession, and I've got to have that intent, right? To the best of my abilities, I'm not going to do this again. That doesn't mean, right, that we know that, we are, in all likelihood, nobody's perfect. We are going to make these mistakes again, but you have to have that intent. You've got to go through be sincere in the 4 stages of repentance. There's no point in doing it and having at the back of my mind, well, you know what, I really, really regret that I spoke badly, or I didn't eat what I should have eaten, and I ate the wrong things. But I'm thinking about going out to KFC, straight after Yom Kippur to break my fast. That doesn't work. You've got to sincerely, genuinely stand there and really want to change. It's not New Year's resolutions the way secular society sees it. It's sincere, it's real, and then gradually we can make improvements to our lives. So those are the 4 stages. We'll talk about the rest on another occasion. Let's carry on now with the Psalm 23. Lovely to see everyone. I'm just going to say a quick good morning because so many wonderful people are joining us. I can only do the names that are on the screen. To David, to Neil, to Peter, to Paul, to Eitan, to Mervyn, to Harry, to Rachel, to David, to Anthony, Estelle, Caroline, Richard, David, Rachel, Estelle, and Neil again. And we wish each and every one of you a wonderful Shabbos. We wish you well, and please God, we should only have good things in the coming weeks and year. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He causes me to lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. He restores my soul. He leads me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Even when I walk in the valley of darkness, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You set a table before me in the presence of my adversaries. You anointed my head with oil. My cup overflows. May only goodness and kindness pursue me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord for the length of days. Memorial prayer. We wish long life to all those that would be saying Kaddish, and that all those that, be it for they're in their year or they have Yortzeit. Our confess es nishmos lebas Bible Zivibas Mordechai Avram ben David Slavin Shlomo ben Yisrael Morris Eliezer ben Shmuel Tate Eliezer Shalom ben Shmuel Beretz for Fegelabas Ruven Baruch Shalom ben Elieli ben Abbas Bible from Rosh Hashanah bas Yaakov Shmuel Sarah Malka bas Ben Yomin Zechiel Michael ben Zalman David ben Yaakov Zahava bas Shlomo Fegel bas Shol Yechiel Michael ben Zalman Meshulam ben Yosef Shalchu li Olamam Bagan Eden Tei Menuchosam Lachim Balarachumim Yasrim B'Seisa Kanafav li Olamim V'Yitzov B'Sachai Nishmazam Adonai Nachlasam Yanuch B'Shlom Mishkavam V'Nomar Amen. Lastly, we want to say a prayer for Refuah Shalema for all those that are unwell, in particular with COVID. I think we live in a bit in a bubble, friends, and I was speaking to somebody who will remain nameless. You can probably guess who. An eminent doctor was telling me from his work with the NHS that there are many cases, even of young people up north. So we shouldn't become complacent. We have to ensure that we do everything in our powers to ensure that this terrible illness goes away, and therefore to keep ourselves safe and secure, and to do all the restrictions, but also to pray to God. Babu Shanim Bispalim, Babu Ram, Biscazakash Baruch, Yimale Rachim, Malehem, Lachman of Osam, Bishlach Lem, Fishlim, Nishman, Lacholavim, Baso, Shaki, so Rufus and Epish Fusakuk, Hashabag Magriv and Amara Main. And we wish lastly a Mazel Tov to the Cohen family, to David and to Danielle Cohen on the Bar Mitzvah of Toby, the Shabbos. Wish you Mazel Tov. I know you're celebrating and having the Bar Mitzvah in your garden. Mazel Tov to you and to the Newman family. So we wish you Mazel Tov and Josh's Bar Mitzvah, which is being celebrated Motzei Shabbos after Shabbos on Monday. Mazel Tov to each and every one of you. Please God, we should only have Simchas. 6:45. The Hakam Ross are doing a Kabbalat Shabbat this evening with a Dvar Torah from Dina Raphael. Not to be missed. 6:45. Have a great Shabbos. Look after yourselves. Keep safe. Keep well, and we'll see you later on. Take care.